I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. I think we're good to go. We're gonna go, and nothing's gonna stop me.
Hold on tight. This is the Hold on tight. This is the Generic Live Show.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure as always. It's my mother effing trucking birthday. And I'm doing a show for all of you because that's just how much I am dedicated to my craft. No, just kidding. Birthdays, I feel like I'm making a big deal of it, but I am making a big deal of it. But it's also, it comes around once a year, and I don't oftentimes. I could have easily taken the night off, but instead, I'm here with you right now, doing the show. It's Dale Campbell here with you. Thanks for joining us. We're doing it for Geeko. It's the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure as per always. A little bit of housekeeping to do before the show proper. For avid followers of the YouTube channel, youtube.com/generic live show, I do apologize about the pre-show and post-show not being posted there. By the way, you can get all the whole package that we do here every Sunday night from 7 or 9 a.m. Eastern time. We do a pre-show, we do a post-show. Both are about, I aim to push to do half an hour each, but you never know. So thank you for being patient. I'm going to post the pre-show and the post-show for last week before I post this pre-show and post-show for this week. So you can find that at youtube.com/generic live show as well. Again, thank you for everyone in the chat that has been wishing me a happy birthday. M-Beam and Techie Gamer, thank you for the birthday wishes. They greatly appreciate everyone hitting me up on Facebook as well as on Twitter, twitter.com/@TheDaleCampbell, TheDaleCampbell. Thank you for the messages there. It means a lot, so thank you very much. I'm turning to the ripe old age of you need to tune into the pre-show to find out how old I am. So that's the perks of being here half an hour early. You get to find out how old I'm turning. So if anyone's got any guesses while we're moving along here, how old I am, move for except for M-Beam. Actually, M-Beam, you can answer, but don't spoil it. You do it over and under on that one. So there you go. But thank you for joining us. I just, again, could have taken the night off, but I'm here and I enjoy doing this show, so we may as well do this adventure together. Now, speaking of doing adventures together, the results we've been waiting on. This has been, I think, a year and a half in the making, and it's not, it hasn't it still hasn't ended, but it's got to be, it's got to be somewhere in the making. Techie Gamer says 12. MB says between 1 and 60. That sounds like a random number generator. Ryzen Hell 1995 says 10. I mean, yeah, you're close-ish. All of you. I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, you're not right, but you're certainly on the right track. So the year and a half journey continues as we head here into a Sunday. We just moved on to the next kind of level of it. SSM, same-sex marriage. The results for the long-awaited survey that was, by the way, I feel like dragged on for way too long. And the plebiscite would have done the same thing. Australia returns a resounding yes vote, but the debate is still a long way to go, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? This same-sex marriage survey was non-binding. So what that means is it was not compulsory to vote in it, as well as it wasn't directly run by the government themselves. So it wasn't their doing, and it wasn't certainly binded by any sort of law. It was a compulsory survey that the ABS put together, the Australian Bureau of Statistics put together. Long-time listeners of the show will learn about the 2016 kerfuffle with the census, in the Australian census in 2016, which was a disaster because they tried to do online, but they didn't realize that it kind of, there are 20 million people logging on at the same time would cause some server issues. So they put on this survey. It came back a resounding yes, with 7.8 million yes responses, with 4.9 million no responses. 12,727,920 people responded, representing 79% of eligible Australians. Malcolm Turnbull says overwhelming result means Parliament now has to get on with legislating. So we'll kind of go through the state in a little bit, but we want to watch the moment that some supporters heard the result directly.
Representing 61.6% of clear responses. That's 61.6% of clear. 61%. Representing 61.6% of clear responses.
So what you're hearing is a lot of people just cheering and going, yeah! I couldn't anywhere find the actual ABS speech, but that's probably more on me, but that sort of thing. So we got a few more audio clips here to kind of break things up. But here is Senator Penny Wong, who has been an advocate for same-sex marriage for a long time. This is her reacting after hearing the yes result.
Yes responses, 7,870,000.
So she's there. She starts breaking down and crying.
Thank you, Australia.
Here we go.
Thank you for standing up for fairness. Thank you for standing up for equality. Thank you for standing up for gay and lesbian Australians, the LGBTIQ community everywhere. Thank you for standing up for our families. Thank you for standing up for the sort of Australia we believe in. An Australia that is decent, an Australia that is fair, an Australia which is accepting, an Australia which turns its back on exclusion and division. Thank you, Australia. And now Australians have done their part. It's time for the Parliament to do our part. And together we will. Together, this group gathered here today from across the political spectrum, we will do our part. And I hope that everyone in this Parliament has heard the resounding voice of the Australian people today. A mandate for change, a mandate for fairness, a mandate for equality, because it is time. It is time to change the marriage law. It is time to remove discrimination. It is time for equality. Final comment I want to make is this, and that's to our community, the LGBTIQ community across Australia. You didn't want this process, and it has been really hard for many of you. I know that because I've moved around the country and spoken to many of you. And I hope from this you can take a message of solidarity, of support, of decency from your fellow Australians.
That is Labor Senator Penny Wong. She's actually the leader in the Senate for the Labor Party, Penny Wong. She's been the, not official, but kind of the spokesperson for the Yes campaign. On the other end of the spectrum, we've got Lyle Shelton, talking out. He was a avid no
First
campaigner.
of all, I'd
Here
like
he
to
is.
congratulate the Yes campaign for their victory today. It's been decisive, and I congratulate them on the campaign that they have won. For us here in the No camp, obviously it's a disappointment, but despite the valiant effort of so many of the people in this room here today and thousands of volunteers right around the country, grassroots people who supported us with donations, we haven't quite got to where we wanted to go, but that's the result and the verdict the Australian people have delivered. I just want to thank our volunteers and our team for their work. I think you have showed great commitment in this campaign. You have helped convince at least 1 million Australians to come our way in this vote. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get over the line, but it's been a valiant effort, and I want to thank all the people in this room and all the people right around Australia who got behind the campaign that says it's okay to say no.
That is no campaigner Lyle Shelton, kind of congratulating the congratulating the Yes campaign and kind of receiving the gracefully accepting kind of defeat there a little bit. You know, and that's actually kind of a good move, because from what it was made out to be, I'm actually surprised that they didn't come out kind of swinging. Just replying to something in the chat room that I should really be paying attention to. But you know, it's kind of it's silence on the internet. But it kind of, again, I'm actually surprised that they didn't kind of come out swinging harder, going. They did their tagline of "It's okay to say no," but to congratulate the Yes campaign like that is very unexpected. So let's break this down further. Let's simplify it. The question that Australia was asked by the Bureau of Statistics in the same-sex marriage postal survey. Yes, all this had to be done by postage. You know. By postage, which the Australian post system, which I've had to deal with, and my mother, who is in the chat room, has had to deal with recently, is very slow and takes things a very long time, which probably means that was the window that was kind of allowed for that. I think it was like 3 weeks or something. It's been a hot minute. The question that was asked was, should the law be changed to allow same-sex couples to marry? Nationally, 62% said yes, 38% said no. New South Wales broke down to be 58% yes, 42% no. We can micro break down Queensland's. Victoria said 65% yes, 35% no. Queensland voted 61% yes, 39% no. In Western Australia, they voted 64% yes and 36% no. South Australia, they voted 62% yes and 38% no. In Tasmania, they voted 64% yes, 36% no. And the Australian Capital Territory, they voted 74% yes, 26% no. And the Northern Territory is 61% yes and 39% no. With the Northern Territory being the lowest retention rate, which is understandable because it's a very low area and it's very regional as well. It is so regional, it's kind of hard to kind of get to as well. And Post doesn't kind of travel easy to those remote areas where people are and kind of hard to reach, so some of them didn't get a chance to vote, which is a real shame as well, that those people who didn't choose to vote, I don't feel sympathy for, but those people who physically could not vote, I really do feel sorry for. In Queensland, excuse me, the 78% response rate, we had And so the response rate total was 78%, which is good. That's nearly 80%. 76% of males responded, 80% of females responded. Between 18 and 24 years, 69% responded. Between 25 and 34, 69% responded. 35 to 44 years, 73% responded. Interestingly enough, this is where it gets interesting. So 73 between 35 and 44, 78% 45 to 54, 84% response rate between 55 and 64, and 88% of people above the age of 65 responded. That actually surprises me. So the how that kind of really surprises me that more older people responded than younger people, because to me I thought younger people would more likely be involved in the survey, and that's not necessarily that's less on their support level or not support level. This is just purely straight up completing the survey. But again, it kind of goes back to those remote areas, and also you got to take into consideration how many unofficial, or as the term I uttered last week, donkey votes was in that same-sex marriage kind of bubble, if that makes sense. And this website kind of this kind of page shames those people. Actually, no, it's not this page, but I did read an article this week that kind of pokes fun of and kind of goes, here are the no places, and here's why you should avoid them. And it's kind of like, that's not helping. You're not helping much by legitimately shaming those people who did vote no. And it's clearly that this website that I was frequenting was kind of a supporter of it, but that doesn't necessarily mean, and it wasn't an opinion piece. It was marketed as news. And here's the towns that received, all of the no votes, and here's why you should avoid them. It's like, again, you're not helping the cause, and people are, that's not. You might think you might want to avoid them, but again, not helping. So the Prime Minister quoted of saying, "Your relationships are equal to everyone else," says the PM. So the strong in favour was the ACT again. Where are we getting? So here it is. We might as well play the bill. Actually, drafts of the bill has been introduced into the Senate. So we're going to play two bits of audio for you. We're going to play the Prime Minister, and then we're going to play the Senate bill being introduced.
And they have voted overwhelmingly yes for marriage equality. They voted yes for fairness. They voted yes for commitment. They voted yes for love. And now it is up to us here in the Parliament of Australia to get on with it. To get on with the job the Australian people have tasked us to do and get this done this year before Christmas. That must be our commitment.
By the by, I forgot to mention that this is the goal of the Prime Minister, is to have this done before Christmas. And he has actually come out on record on, I think it was I don't want to name the network, but it was a Brisbane radio station, a mainstream radio station in Brisbane, where the Prime Minister stated the fact that despite the parliamentary break starting on December 6th, he says he'll extend that until this is over, done before Christmas. So there was no point for politicians to try and roadblock this, because that won't work for the Prime Minister. But the Prime Minister continues.
We asked the Australian people for their view. This was an unprecedented exercise in democracy. A voluntary survey, a voluntary postal survey in which 80% participated. And over 61%, 61.6% have said yes.
That is the Prime Minister speaking. Now we need to move along to Liberal Senator Dean Smith introducing the legislation to legislate same-sex
Mr.
marriage.
President, I move that the following bill be introduced. A bill for an act to amend the law relating to the definition of marriage and protect religious freedoms and for related purposes.
Question is the motion moved by Senator Smith be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. The contrary, no. The ayes have it. The aye. Senator Smith.
I present the bill and move that this bill may proceed without formalities and be now read a first time.
Now we're gonna eat into our commercial break here because I think this is important for this bill to be read out loud. I'm just saying. Let's hear this out.
Question is the motion moved by Senator Smith be agreed to. Those of that opinion say aye. Aye. The contrary, no. The ayes have it. The Clerk.
A bill for an act to amend the law relating to the definition of marriage and protect religious freedoms and for related purposes.
Senator Smith.
I move that this bill now be read a second time and I seek leave to table an explanatory memorandum relating to the bill.
Is leave granted? Leave is granted. Senator Smith.
I table an explanatory memorandum and I seek leave to have the second reading speech incorporated in Hansard and to continue my remarks.
Is leave granted? Leave is granted. There being no objection, leave is granted to Senator Smith. In accordance with this motion, the bill will be listed for consideration at the time for private senators' bills tomorrow. Thank you.
The effect of this motion will be to bring on for debate the private senators' bill put forward by Senator Smith to enable the Parliament to give effect to the wishes of the overwhelming majority of the Australian people to change the law to allow same-sex couples to marry. This delivers on the Prime Minister's promise to facilitate such a debate in the event of a yes vote. The debate will now proceed in the usual manner for dealing with a private senator's bill, subject to the timetable provided for by the motion. The debate on the second reading will begin tomorrow. It is the government's intention that the debate will continue until the bill, with whatever amendments the Senate may agree to at the committee stage, is finally disposed of.
Okay, so we're getting into the nitty-gritty here. Is there anything worth
To
listening
the
to
doctrines and teachings of their church when it comes to marriage.
Oh, here we go.
To speak freely of those teachings and to bring up their children in accordance with the tenets of their faith. Some have suggested, incorrectly, that the effect of the bill may be to limit that right. To put the matter beyond doubt, I will also move an amendment to make it clear that nothing in the bill makes it unlawful for people to hold and to express the views of their own religion on the subject of marriage. Such an amendment would not in any way derogate from the primary purpose of the bill to enable same-sex couples to marry, but would make it clear that, as the Prime Minister and I have always said, that reform and the protection of religious freedom are not inconsistent.
So that this is the other kicker to this bill as well. Now, this is not what we voted on. We voted for are same-sex couples, should the law be changed to allow same-sex couples to marry? That's what we voted on. We didn't vote on should the law be changed to allow same-sex couples to marry provided a baker wants to bake them a cake. Now, to be fair, to be completely fair, and I just want to scratch this surface and we can go into greater detail next hour. But I just want to let that sink in. Kind of going, hey, hang on a minute. We wanted to. I understand it's private entities as well. They can refuse. I believe that they can refuse business to the people if they so choose to, because that's their business, and literally it's their business, and they can choose to not necessarily discriminate, but kind of go, what needs to happen here for them to allow to run their business. And I've always said that, and if you're always gonna, if you need a cake for a wedding, you're always going to find someone to bake you a cake, or if not, you can be the same as that. As an article we read a couple of months ago, or that woman who went down to the local supermarket and bought a mud cake for $4.90. Actually, admittedly, that was a cake gone awry, so they had to go to the supermarket to buy a mud cake. But the point still stands. You can find someone to bake you a cake. It doesn't have to be that person. But what I'm annoyed about is they are going to be introducing a bill that has that sort of stuff built into it. I don't necessarily like the fact that that has to be explicitly said, and freedom of religion is a little weird, particularly to me, but mainly because I don't understand it. That's part of it, so I should shut up. But the point is, people should be able to do what they want in their own businesses, because that's their business and they should run it how they see fit. Because it's like saying to a baker, you should bake this particular product, and kind of like, no, I can't really do it because XYZ. So you'd go somewhere else. Let's say, for example, if they, and this is a terrible analogy, say, for example, if a baker doesn't believe in baking gluten-free stuff, and you can't sue them for not having to bake gluten-free stuff, mainly because they probably don't have the ingredients. Whereas you can take them to court for this sort of stuff. It's weird, and I can delve into this for hours, but I won't, because we've got a show to get onto it. But it's kind of interesting in that fact that, we voted for, should the law be changed to allow people to get married? Yes won, and I'm forever grateful that yes won more than words can express. But sneaky freedom of religion in it, really, guys? Really? Did you have to do that? Did you really have to? I mean, we could have done without that. Like, seriously? We could have, done without all of that, to be honest. So, and it will save a lot of hassle on the court system, but I don't think that it needed to be this explicit this soon, because it's like, alright, here's this, and oh, by the way, we got this by. That's what it is to me. So I just find it a little bizarre and a little bit off kilter that by the way, here's this big thing, oh, by the way, freedom of religion, bye. And then that's what it is. So we'll see how this plays out. And we're going to be talking about this again next hour, so strap in. We got more of this analysis next hour, as well as we continue here on the Generic Live Show. Well, we've got a new segment on the show starting right now, and yes, we've got segments when the end of the show, near the end of the year. Yes, everything's fine. So we've got a little bit of a segment. I'm not going to say too much, but get your time traveling machines out, because you're going to need them. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. It's a pleasure as always. It's 10:29.
This Geek Hire Podcast Network program is sponsored by Audible. They're the leaders in digital audiobooks on the internet. Choose from over 100,000 titles across all types of literature, including fiction, non-fiction, and periodicals. Try audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan for free. That's right, free, which includes 1 audiobook credit per month. After your 30-day trial, your membership will renew for just $14.95 per month, so you can continue to receive your audiobook credit per month, plus members-only discounts on all audio purchases. If audiobooks aren't quite your thing, well, that's okay. Audible also have a variety of radio and TV programs and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. There's something for everyone. Check out geek-io.net/audible for all of the details. And we thank Audible for their support of the Geek.io podcast network.
Contact the show at any time. genericliveshow@gmail.com. This is the Generic Live Show. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. We're doing it for Geek.io. Thanks for joining us. That last bit went long. Yay! Dale let it rain. It was so weird. Mum asks in the chat room, are you drinking wine? I am not drinking wine. It's a bit late for that, jeez. Not that I had cider at 10 a.m. this morning, but I am having a creaming soda. Again, hashtag not sponsored, hashtag not yoga pants, hashtag not unicorn booties. Alright, so no, I'm not drinking wine, I am drinking a delicious creaming soda. Oh, and I'm also, good time by the way, if you want to get me a birthday present, you should get yourself a birthday present. No, I'm just kidding. I'm drinking out of my Generic Live mug that you can get at our Generic Live store at tinyurl.com/generic store, Generic Live home. We've got a range of goods up there for you to enjoy. Get up real quick and put it in the chat room, Dale. Hey, prep next time. No, tinyurl.com/generic store is where you can buy some stuff. You got mugs and shirts, and you got stickers, and yeah, there's a indoor throw pillow. So there you go. It's not the Dale waifu pillow. I'm not doing the Dale waifu pillow. So there you go. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a new segment on the show. Whoa! Where is that coming from? How do I be at the tab? There you go. Wow, that was so weird. All right. Alright, so we don't have any bumper music or anything for that, because this is freshly planned. We're working this out, even in the pre-show. Stop that, like right now, window. Really? I'm trying to do a bit here, and you're like, rah! Alright, so how do I actually? By the way, how about I mute the tab? Oh ho ho! Pew 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 pew. So there you go. That's now I have the control. So we got a new bit here. I was going to originally call it GLS Flashback, but that's very generic because that's fun. Because everything has to be generic around here. But then I was saying something in the chat in the pre-show, and I was like, "It's the same as you remember." Oh, because M-Beam, who's a regular here, said I should play Talking Heads. What was the song? If I can find it. Once in a Lifetime. I should play Once in a Lifetime underneath this bit and call it Same as It Ever Was. Should be the name of the segment. I won't play it because this is the actual show and I don't want to get banned off everywhere. I have to find there's a royalty-free version somewhere on the internet that has to be a royalty-free version that I can use. So there you go. If anyone has a version of Once in a Lifetime that I can play, genericliveshow@gmail.com. So This bit is basically me looking back at a year and a month. And what better way to start this segment called It's the Same as You Remember, Same as It Ever Was. November 1993 edition. November 1st, Atlantic Radio, 20 radio stations became America's radio systems. Also, on November 1, it's the last day of the first cricket series for Mike Whitney, New South Wales versus New Zealand. The STS-58 Columbia lands. The Maastricht Treaty, the Treaty on European Union, comes into effect. Actor Roger Moore, James Bond, has his enlarged prostate removed. Fun! Also, on November 2nd, Dow Jones hits a record of 3,697.64 points. Also on November 2nd, Rudy Giuliani wins the New York mayoral election and becomes the first Republican mayor since 1965. I don't know what voice this is I'm doing, but I'm running with it anyway. November 4th, Elton John awarded $518,700 from Sunday Mirror for a false report on his diet. Oh no! I actually like this voice. Okay, I'm gonna do this voice. Alright, so actor excuse me, November 6th, actor Ronald Walden's arrested for drink driving. I don't know who that is. Some of this is like really weird, bizarre, in-depth stuff. Alright, November 9th, Cinderella opens at New York State Theater, New York City, after 14 performances. For 14 performances, rather, I should read. Pope John Paul II was hospitalized for 2 days for a fractured shoulder on November 11th, 1993. Kentucky Cycle opens at Royal Theatre, New York City for 34 performances. November 14th, 23rd New York City's Women Marathon won by Uta Pig in 2 hours, 26 minutes and 24 seconds. Puerto Rico votes. Oh, November 14th. No breaking news. November 14th. In 1993, Puerto Rico votes against becoming the 51st state of the United States. November 15th, Howard Stern's radio show premieres in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on WYAV 104.1 FM. And November 17th, 1993, U.S. House of Representatives approved NAFTA. November 18th, I don't know what this bit is standing to. November 18th, black and white leaders in South Africa approved new diplomatic constitution. Okay, that's, okay. Let's see, where are we? November 20th, 1993, 50th Iron Bowl, Auburn beats Alabama 22-14 in Auburn. And also November 21st, Cinderella closes at New York State Theater, New York City after 14 performances. In November 23rd, 1993, Doggy Style, the debut album from Snoop Dogg, was released and later became Billboard's Album of the Year in 1994. November 24th, 1993, end of world according to Ukraine sect White Brotherhood. Well, we're glad to see that we lived through that. In November 28th, 1993, Grey's Anatomy opens at the Beaumont Theatre in New York City for 13 performances. November 30th, 1993, NFL announces 30th franchise, Jacksonville Jaguars. In November 30th, 1993, Schindler's List. American historical drama film directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Liam Neeson, Ben Kingsley, and Ralph Fiennes, premieres in Washington, D.C., and later on won the Best Film Academy Awards. Read the script. Academy Awards Best Picture in 1994. Okay. And that's what happens. That's what happened in November of 1993. Ta-da! Smooth, right? That's the end of It's the Same as You Remember, Same as It Ever Was. Actually, that might be the whole title. Let's not go there. let's not do that. Meanwhile, there's an event that happens in Australia every single year. It's called Schoolies. So the end of year 12 and high school students graduate and get really, really drunk and party. Is basically what Schoolie is. But move over Bali and the Gold Coast. This year's school leavers are partying at a much fancier location, providing kids these days nothing like they used to be. Let's see what this involves. Meanwhile, while that does its thing, back in the day, I can't get out of that voice now. When school kids went away with their mates, they were most likely hoped for the Gold Coast, Airlie Beach, Lorne, or Byron Bay. And internationally, schoolie trips became the rage, and freshly graduated teenagers were heading off on their first trip out of the country to Southeastern Asian spots like Bali and Thailand. But this year's batch of Year 12 graduates are blowing them all out of the water. Europe! Man. Europe has become the hot rage, apparently, for popular 2017 school leavers, according to Finder.com. So let's see. Let's see what this says.
I love Australia. I'd love to say hi to Mum and Dad and my little sister.
Schoolies, where parents ditch for cheap booze. Last year, nearly 35,000 teens descended on the Gold Coast. A survey of 1,500 young people discovered attending Schoolies in 2012. Blah blah blah. 20% passed out. Oh god! By the way, 20% passed out. 35. Oh, okay. I'm not reading that. Some schoolies travel to places far less than that. And this is just going to be audio. Hey, don't do videos with just audio. They're not great. Okay. According to Finder.com analysis of international travel insurance quotes purchased by 17 to 18-year-olds for November to January, a significant 27% of them will be partying in Europe. But that also could be Christmas as well, just FYI, with their parents. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say that. The likelihood of that happening is very low. Just saying. But it's possible. Southeast Asia is the most popular destination with 24% of school leavers heading there, followed by the South Pacific region at 11%. Sorry, Gold Coast, it looks like your status as the schoolies mecca has long gone, and thank God for that, because, well, the Gold Coast is lovely. I hear it's lovely this time of year. But Finder.com.au breaks down the data to individual countries like Indonesia, presumably because of Bali, top destinations of schoolies this year. Next is the United States, followed by Australia, Japan, UK, France, Thailand, the Philippines, Canada, and New Zealand. So I did say Canada. Just 5% of schoolies are seeking travel insurance instead to stay in Australia for the traditional and infamous end-of-school celebrations. Excuse me. But wherever they were headed, Finder.com.au is warning schoolie kids that alcohol alcohol use may mean that any travel insurance claims will not be covered. Well, thank God for that, because, you know, it shouldn't be covered, you know. Why should Why should we cover their insurance when they're being little turds? So there you go. It's important to make sure. It's important to make sure that you have travel insurance policy in place for your schoolies before you head overseas. Finder.com.au's money expert Beastie Henson said, quote, schoolies should be aware that almost all travel insurance providers will not cover anyone who is hospitalized as a result of an alcohol-related injury. Schoolies are urged to be wary of drink spiking, especially in places such as Bali, where many Australians have become seriously ill or have died as a result of tampered alcohol. Schoolies in Queensland kicks off celebrations tomorrow, this weekend. That's this weekend. Huh. Go figure. They kicked off November 18th for New South Wales, followed by Victoria on November 25th. It's that time of year, folks. Christmas is coming up and all sorts. Yes, I know, I'm wiping myself with a wet rag. Yeah, it's gotten that bad. But it's end of school time, and I don't know how I feel about that. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that on Facebook today that when I graduated high school. So also makes me reminiscent of these days. But I didn't have a kind of schoolies celebration, mainly because I was going overseas in February. So it was kind of like I either have a big party now and don't go to Vanuatu for 6 months, or I skip out on a party and go to Vanuatu for 6 months and volunteer teaching primary school children over there. That was my gap year. Not many people do that. That's a gap year more so than a schoolie celebration. But it's interesting to see, like, how many people that attend schoolies end up taking a year off before heading to university. That would be certainly an interesting kind of feat to learn as well. Plus also, the Gold Coast, really nice this time of year. It's so nice this time of year. The Gold Coast is a nice place. So, no, let's say anything. So, but, and some of the stats of these kind of these kind of, schoolies and that sort of stuff, some of these are frightening, and that video indicated, overdosage and unprotected doing it, which how I'm phrasing that, I guess. I don't know, it is crude, I guess, but it's shocking, these stats, and these kids going, my parents aren't here, so I'm gonna do naughty things, and it's like, well, okay. For any schoolies that are listening to this, up here, use it often, and use it every day. That was for audio listeners. That was me tapping on my head to indicate a brain. So there you go. As we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday, it's Dale Campbell here with you. Well, today is not just my birthday, but there are other events happening today. We'll tell you about them as we continue here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. Thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure as always, whether you're listening to us live at twitch.tv/geekio show or on your hard drive where good podcasts are sold. Thanks for joining us. It's 10:49.
Want a custom computer? Want to run the latest games at the highest graphics with no lag? Want to build a computer that can make and edit movies or videos like them they're professionals? Pugent Systems has your solution. Go to geek-io.net/Pugent to build a brand new custom computer. We'd like to thank Pugent Systems for their support of
this Geek-O podcast network is proudly sponsored by T-Fury. T-Fury is the home of your t-shirt needs. Well, we're all geeks, and we all love wearing t-shirts because, well, society tells us that we can't walk around naked, allegedly. So we've got you covered. T-Fury is the home of t-shirts with geeky designs from independent artists. What's there not to love? T-shirts, geekiness, indie. Yay! When you're ready to go check out the range, use our affiliate link over at geek-io.net/T-Fury. so we can get a little bit of a kickback off any t-shirt that is bought from the hundreds of t-shirts available at T-Fury. T-Fury, the match made in heaven. A match made in heaven is not actually the T-Fury slogan, although I don't actually know what
This
the T-Fury
Geeko
slogan
podcast
is.
network
Opinions
is
that are
proudly
reflected
sponsored
in the
by
preceding
Think
advertisement
Geek.
were the opinions of
Think
Dale Campbell only, and
Geek
not
is
the reflect
the
those of the
biggest
Geeko
online
podcast
retailer
network.
of
It's affiliated to all
all
sponsors.
things geeky. That's right, everything geeky. And they stock the biggest brands in geekiness, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, Marvel, Game of Thrones, DC Comic, and Geek Labs. And they sell a whole bunch of things like collectibles, electronics and gadgets, t-shirts and apparel, gifts. They sell it all over at Think Geek. And they have free shipping on orders over $75 or a flat $6.95 US standard shipping to all places in the US. So when you're ready to check out the range over at Think Geek, the online geek superstore, just use our link to go over to Think Geek over at geek-io.net/thinkgeek. That gives us a little bit of a kickback on what you buy. Don't worry, we're not stealing your shoe size or asking you for a blood sample. It's okay. We're only getting a kickback from what you buy. We don't actually see what you buy from Think Geek. Join in, geek out, Think Geek. We thank Think Geek for their support of the Geek.io podcast network.
You finally found the most generic live show. This is the Generic Live Show.
Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday. It's Dale Campbell here with you. We're doing it for Geek.io. Thanks for joining us. This feels really weird because it kind of, we didn't expect that the first bit of the show, segment of the show would take half an hour. But anyway, it's kind of threw things off the loop. Thank you for joining us here on a Sunday, my birthday. It's not only my birthday today. It's a happy International Men's Day! Yay! According to Suri today, it was International Men's Day. So have fun with that. Actually, you know what? Let's do this test because it's still here. All right. Hey Suri, when is International Men's Day?
International Men's Day is today.
I hope you heard that. Anyway, so International Men's Day is today. Let's ask it if it knows. Hey Siri, when is World Toilet Day?
World Toilet Day is today.
Yay! Happy World Toilet Day. Huh? What? No, well, it's a matter of public health, question mark? I don't know. So, no intervention has saved more lives. Still, 4.5 billion people live in this world without a functioning sanitary system each day. It is at dawn. The first rays of sunlight break over the horizon. In the days, one can see a silhouette of a small royal village. Oh god, this sounds like my time in Vanuatu. This actually, well, they don't have running toilets in Vanuatu, in the remote area where I was, so this makes sense. A newlywed couple is asleep in bed. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Done. Nope. It's definitely not the same. When they hear a knock on the door, outside, two women with lanterns wait. they're here for the bride to take her out on a moonlight trip to the toilet. That means to the bushes at the edge of the village. The bride is shocked and runs away from her husband in horror. Oh God! This is a scene from what? No, hang on. That's not a story. By the way, the hit new movie coming this summer, Toilet, a love story. Can we name the episode Toilet: a love story? Anyway, just no. Generic live show at 11/19/17, a love story. Oh, that's not inaccurate. But let's ask Suri, because Suri knows. Hey Suri, tell me about Toilet, a love story.
That would take yonks.
Oh, God, alright, well. That would take yonks, apparently. Don't even get Suri started on Toilet: a love story. The true account of a man whose wife left him because he was missing a piece of plumbing, and his fight with his sanitation system for his village. Oh my God, this does sound really good, but kind of bad that I like this. Yeah, okay. Quote, toilets are more important than temples. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced recently, unquote, says Ann Pastra, who heads the Department for Sustainable Sanitary Provisions at the German Corporation for International... What? Okay. I'm going to read this again. Who heads the Development for Sustainable Sanitary Provisions at German Corporation for International Cooperation. Or... oh, come on. Come on. This writes itself. Or GIZ. Now, what does that kind of... What? No, that's not a thing. We're not changing our name to Jizz. Just saying. That's not a thing. Quote, his plan for all Indians is to have secure, sustainable toilets by the year 2019. Pasar has often visited the country and neighbouring Bangladesh for projects. So, here's the global sanitation coverage chart. You know, because you come to the Generic Live Show for that. Toilets, 60% have no access to safe sanitation. 30% don't even have access to basic sanitation. Drinking water is not the same, but 27% have no home access to drinking water. Consequences? 10% of the world's population consume food that is contaminated by feces or related bacteria. Other consequence? 280,000 people die each year due to diarrhea-related diseases that could be avoided with safe sanitation. So there you go. It is World Sanitation Day, and there's also a video here regarding China's
Happy Valley
toilet.
is Beijing's biggest amusement park, attracting some 4 million visitors a year. But when it comes time to look for the facilities, visitors discover what the park does not have to offer. A total of 18 toilet blocks were built to serve the public. 2 years ago, park operators spent hundreds of thousands for badly needed renovation.
Okay.
Now cleanliness is a top priority. Workers clean the toilets every 10 to 20 minutes. People come here to have fun. But if the toilets are disgusting, how can they have a good time here?
That's
it's
true.
the least we can do to offer a clean and tidy environment for tourists to enjoy both their visit to the park and the experience of using our toilets.
So, toilet talk, ladies and gentlemen. So, today, if you're listening to this, or if you're Australian, actually no, there's still an hour left in the day. If you're, actually not if you're in daylight savings time. Okay, never mind. I was going to say today, be thankful for your toilet. But don't ask Suri to explain Toilet, a love story. because, again, that'll take yonks. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining us here on the Jarek Live Show for a Sunday. Well, we've got the results of the same-sex marriage postal survey. We'll tell you all about them in hour 2 of the program. More coming up. More Generic Live goodness coming your way on my birthday. Thanks for joining us here on the Generic Live Show for a Sunday, live at twitch.tv/Geek.io show. Twitch.tv/Geek.io show. Thanks for joining us. It's 11 o'clock.